Right now, Washington's hourly minimum wage is $9.19. Some lawmakers want to take away $1.94 from that, bringing it to the federal minimum wage of $7.25. As for the sludge that's leaking, experts say, think of it like the organic peanut butter that you buy. It's the same consistency, and the oils that race to the top, that's what can leak out of the tanks at Hanford. Right now, the law is designed to keep kids from lingering in foster care. Here in Olympia, copper was stolen from streetlights like these, and it cost $30,000 to fix. And theft like that, it's happening in just about every city in Washington. When a woman runs for office, she has the same shot of winning as a man. But women are less likely to be recruited and often have to be asked multiple times. Here at the base, 10,000 employees would be forced to take 22 furlough days. Time-wise, some state lawmakers are pushing the Liquor Control Board to hurry and get the rules in place. Many in college now are watching the GET debate closely, just as they've watched tuition go up double digits for the past 4 years. Another worry, the U.S. Coast Guard still hasn't signed off. It didn't approve the new bridge at 95 feet. Still no word if 116 will be high enough.
If you're out celebrating, you probably do some different drinks than you normally would.
Stephen Bird is a people person.
I love people.
Yeah.
I love people.
Which makes serving drinks at the Olympia Eagles Club the perfect fit.
It's such a fun job because I get to meet every different kind of walk of life, whether it's from a 95-year-old man drinking a little scotch or from a bunch of 21-year-old partiers.
Bird's a catalyst for relaxing nerves and dropping guards.
A couple drinks in them, then they act like a goofball. So it makes me smile.
But what makes his nerves tighten? The proposed training wage, which would allow some employers pay new workers less for their first 680 hours.
I need money in my pocketbook. I'm the working man. You're the owner. Pay me what I'm worth.
Right now, Washington's hourly minimum wage is $9.19. Some lawmakers want to take away $1.94 from that, bringing it to the federal minimum wage of $7.25.
It's not about opportunity. It's about what they can extract out of the middle class in this state.
House Democrats' response to the Senate Republicans' legislation? A training wage resolution of their own for freshman lawmakers, 25% less their first 2 years.
And what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Representative Mike Sells worries the training wage chips away at job security.
And you know how that'll work out, don't you? 27 weeks on the job and they move you on and bring somebody else new in so that they can pay them a lower minimum wage. That's just plain wrong.
Well, if they do that, they're going to be responsible for their unemployment. They're going to be scored because in this state, you get scored when you lay somebody off, your unemployment rates go up.
Representative Carrie Condata says the Democrats' counterproposal is a publicity stunt, and the training wage idea was recently changed to include an age cap of 19.
One of the reasons I didn't put it in originally is I was afraid of age discrimination. We're a little afraid that you'd have a situation where a 19 and a 20-year-old both wanted to apply for the job and the 19-year-old will get the nod.
Condata points out skills can't always be taught in classrooms, and the lower pay, a carrot to encourage employers to hire teens.
And what we're concerned about is if teenagers don't get a start into the workforce, within a year or so, particularly of getting out of school, the trend shows that they don't get employed, that they're more likely not to get employed for quite a period of time.
But Bird argues workers should be paid what they deserve.
To take away their wage, of course we're going to be mad. Why would I not be mad?
Reporting for TVW, I'm Devon Geary.
This is where we deal with all of our peddlers.
Simone Metals in Tacoma is a scrapyard.
These are just car radiators right here.
That will take anything metal.
Car parts, engines, old aluminum ladders.
Except what isn't yours to sell.
2 years ago, we were turning probably 2-3 people away a day.
Scrap metal is a booming $77 billion industry, and metal thieves want a piece of that. Chris Kettleman showed us what's shiniest to crooks.
There's no reason a homeowner should have access to this material, none whatsoever. I mean, they're not using these at home to run through their walls. So if they come in with stuff like this, we know that we need to turn them away.
And for just this little scrap, a thief would get $14. Scrap metal is everywhere. Here in Olympia, Copper was stolen from streetlights like these, and it cost $30,000 to fix. And theft like that, it's happening in just about every city in Washington. Simone Metals works to ensure you don't have to make those repairs.
I just put my ID in here.
Current law requires metal sellers show ID, but this Tacoma recycler records more, like vehicle information and pictures of what's hauled in.
All the scales that we have, all of them have a camera that's associated with them.
Some of these techniques, along with licenses for buyers and sellers, would be required under a new law being considered by the Washington legislature.
Neither one necessarily addresses what the real issue is, which is enforcement and the ability to, go after the criminals.
The problem is that property crime isn't a significant priority.
Ryan Glant, with the Institute of Scrap Recycling Industries, worries scrap companies are put in the uncomfortable position of playing watchdog.
People may actually be very legitimately coming in with some material that's from a home improvement project, and it's an awkward dance to tell them, no, we can't take your material, and then their option is to go down the road, find someone that will, or throw it into the garbage to end up in the landfill when it's something that we'd like to help them recycle.
Simone Metals still sees questionable scraps, and likely always will, but Kettleman says most thieves have learned not to bother coming here. Reporting for TVW, I'm Devon Geary.
I am in awe of him all the time.
Nadine Miller lights up talking about her little boy.
I came this beautiful child who just positively glows.
Her house in Tacoma,
Yeah, he's got those blue eyes.
filled with photos of 4-year-old Phoenix.
I feel really blessed to be his mom, and I protect that kid.
Maybe a little more than most because of the 3 children she lost.
I miss not tucking them in at night. I miss just this. I miss getting mad at him. I just miss all the mom things that happen.
It was during a darker time in Nadine's life. An addiction to heroin ultimately sent her to prison. After 15 months, with her children in foster care and the state about to take away her parental rights, she gave them up to keep them together.
I wouldn't have any contact with my kids at all. I wouldn't be able to say goodbye. I wouldn't be able to write them or call them or see pictures or anything.
Nadine's since transformed her life and is now working to change the law that broke her family apart.
I am here this morning in support of Substitute Bill 1284.
Right now, the law is designed to keep kids from lingering in foster care. But this bill would give judges more discretion, letting them look at families on a case-by-case basis, keeping in mind if a parent is in prison or treatment and how they're doing.
That children can languish in foster care for just years at a time because we want to keep giving people a chance to get their act together.
More time and no limit makes foster dad and adoptive parent Gary Malcasian nervous.
I would be more comfortable with a 6-month extension or something that had to be reviewed by the court every 6 months rather than simply saying, okay, there's no rule. I mean, it's something about having your case settled and finally you're able to get on with your life.
It looks like the best interest of the child could possibly be superseded by the best interest of the parent.
Randy Hart is with the Department of Social and Health Services and argues the current law is sufficient.
We believe in families, but in the end, there are decisions made by the adults that have consequences, and the children need to be cared for.
Issues that people have that bring them into care aren't something like something that can be fixed overnight. They're hardcore issues.
A new law would be too late for Nadine and her children.
I think they feel abandoned. They don't know what happened, and that hurts because I want them to know that I didn't just leave them.
Something she now has to try and explain to her youngest son, too.
The other day in the bathtub, he looks at me and goes, "Mom, I miss my brother."
But Phoenix also serves as another reminder.
It is a second chance. It is a second chance. And I know I have some challenges up ahead, but I know I'll see my kids again.
Reporting for TVW, I'm Devon Geary. As Washington mourns the death of former Governor Booth Gardner, we have information about his memorial. Gardner died last Friday from complications related to Parkinson's disease. He was 76 years old and passed away at his home in Tacoma. Gardner served 2 terms as the governor here, first elected in 1985. If you can prove you're unable to pay for a ticket, should you get to keep driving? The state Supreme Court took up that issue Tuesday. Stephen Johnson was convicted in Lewis County in 2006 for driving with a suspended license. He describes this as driving while poor because he's disabled and homeless and couldn't pay even the reduced amount. During his appeal this week, his lawyer asked the state to look at individuals' financial situations before taking away their licenses. The Lewis County deputy prosecutor went on to point out if an individual can pay for car-related expenses, they should be able to afford a ticket. If the court rules on Johnson's behalf, 300,000 Washingtonians with suspended licenses due to unpaid tickets could get their driving rights back. Washington lawmakers want to know more about mistakes in our bridges and roads that are costing you money. House Democrats may not have been able to get a bill passed on universal background checks for private gun sales, but they did tackle a few other gun issues. 2 bills have been sent over to the Senate. One keeps people with certain types of restraining orders from having a gun. They would have to hand over any guns to the police. Another sets up a statewide database to keep track of felony firearm offenders. That list would be for law enforcement only. Students with severe allergies may soon be safer at school after a compromise. The House Education Committee heard from students like that who want and say they need EpiPens handy.